Right. Good morning. All right. Good morning. Good morning. Good morning. Good morning. Good morning. So it's apparently. So this is day five for the second time, and it's for certain reasons we had to do day five again because some things came up. I realized that the live video didn't end, and I didn't know what was happening. I couldn't do that, so we had to do day five again. So lucky you if you're not at day five. It was an amazing time. I mean, you're still gonna get the replay nonetheless, but it's nice that you're here at this time. It's really nice. It's really nice. So this is day five, and in case you do not already know, so this is 14 days of mental repositioning. 14 days of mental repositioning. 14 days of intentional decisions to drop off inferior mindsets and take up superior ones. And that's all these comparisons is about. It's about just dropping the ones that do not work, that do not give the best results, and taking up the ones that work. And one thing I mentioned in the first session we had was the only thing that is constant in life is change. And if you'd want to make progress, you must be somebody who is open to change, someone who is willing to make corrections, someone who can see that, oh, this thing isn't working. And you're like, okay, what can I do to make this thing work? And even if it means you letting go of whatever you've held onto for a long time, you should be willing to. The things I've been sharing since we began have been very mind altering. They're not the norm, they're not the things you hear regularly, but they work, they give results, right? We've looked at your mind being a garden and not a graveyard. One of the authors that I know that helps to understand this very well is the author of the book, the power of positive thinking. I'm trying to remember now, but that's keep my mind. The power of positive thinking. It makes a lot of sense to. It makes a lot of sense when you realize that whatever it is that you see happen in the external world is a result of your internal disposition, and if it's correct in here, then it's only a matter of time. What's inside here would become what's outside. So that's why I'm going through this route, helping you understand that you need to make intentional decisions to realign and reposition your mindsets. That's all it's about, just mental repositioning. So today we're looking at think today, not yesterday. Think today, not yesterday. Think today, not yesterday. And simply put, this is talking about the past and the present. The past and the present. And just like you can already see in the description there, I want to start with a quote that's an excerpt from a movie that we all know, Kung Fu, Legend of Awesomeness. You know, right? It says, "Yesterday is history. Tomorrow is a mystery, and today is a gift. That's why it's called present." Think about it for a moment. Yesterday is history. It's gone. Tomorrow is a mystery, and today is a gift. It's a gift. I'm sure you've heard this statement also. Today is not promised. Or is it tomorrow? Tomorrow is not promised. Let me put it up. So that's why it's a mystery. But then today is a gift. What is today? It is now, right here, in this moment. And the power of now is very potent because it determines what's going to happen tomorrow. But we have an attitude or an habit that often refers to the previous. That is, we're looking behind and we're trying to take steps forward. That doesn't work. You know, look at how a car is made. You have a whole windscreen right in front of you. It's wide because the position of the car is to go forward. There are cases where you need to rewind and reverse, but then the car was. That's why the glass behind is not so comfortable to look through. Yes, you can look through and do whatever you want, but then the car was made to go forward. So you have the back mirror, all right in front of you. It's small, You have the side mirrors, small. They are useful to understand what's coming behind you. But then, what's coming behind you is not as important as what's ahead of you. So, in life generally, there is a necessity to pay attention to right here, right now. Right here, right now. You know, we've had a lot of experiences. We are creatures of memories. We are creatures of experiences, and our experiences have formed our belief system, and experiences on different fronts. When you talk about different subjects, different subject matters of life, ranging from relationships to family to love to money to spirituality, many things. You've had experiences, and those experiences are the ones funding your current belief system, except you have honed and dropped off the old ones and taken up the new ones. Except you've done that, you're currently living as a product of your experiences, and the experiences are from the past, either good or bad. So, for example, you have a young lady who is having issues with her friends, and she's come to believe that people are not sincere. She says human beings are not sincere. That's a very, should I say, that statement is heavily inclusive. All human beings, that is, every single human being living on the surface of this earth, cannot be trusted. Now, let me tell you how I know that statement is not true. You're going for an event, you need a ride. What do? Pick up your phone, in drive, Bolt, Uber, whichever one pleases you. And then you order a ride. You see the description of the car. Okay, it's a white Toyota Camry, whatever it is. And you see the number. Someone you've never met in your entire life and someone you might never meet again. And then you order that ride. The guy comes in his car. You enter into the car, the back seats, and you move. Auntie, that is trust. That's a total stranger. That is trust. You go to the market, you don't know who bought the food, don't know what has been done before you got there, don't know anything about it, but you buy that thing, go to your house, whatever, maybe a snack, a biscuit, and you eat. You have no idea who was behind the scene. That is trust. Did you know what I've realized? I realized that we choose who to trust and who not to trust. We choose when to trust, and we unconsciously just trust people. How about you talk about when you get on a bike? Do you know you can be kidnapped? Are you aware? People who enter what they call one chance vehicle. I mean those vehicles that you don't know if, oh, you're going to get you. Not that way. I mean you just kidnap you. Do you know that's possible? But then you just trust, enter the vehicle, and you zoom off. So you just choose to trust. We really don't have trust issues. We just have issues with the people we trust. Yes. And that's largely dependent on the kinds of experiences we've had. So what am I trying to say? I'm trying to say that what is most important is the decisions that you're making right now. It's quite alright. Yes, those experiences you've had in the past are valid. I do not argue with you. I don't argue. They are valid. Yes, they happened. The people did the things they did, and you're absolutely wrong. But that should not determine how you should live your life now. You know, you have a lot of people who have been wounded in relationships because you entered a relationship with a goat, with somebody who doesn't have direction, and then you were badly injured. So what have you believed now? All men are what? Scum. That's not true, because your father got married, and maybe to worsen it now, your dad fits that example properly. But I can assure you, there's a friend of yours who's grown up in a happy family, a loving dad who loves his wife, which is her mom, and she's growing up. So that should tell you that there are still people out there. So what you want to do is, as a human being, as a person, never allow the bad experiences of the past destroy or damage your belief system, damage the way you see life, damage your mindset. You can pick a few lessons from there and learn what to do, what not to do, but it must not become the norm. It must not become an issue. You must not tilt to an extreme. You mustn't. You mustn't. Else, that's going to cheat you of so many things. The past can affect the present, and the present affects the future. So you see that it all starts from the past. If you keep holding on to the past, if you keep holding on to it, it can affect the present. It will affect the present. because you are being careful of decisions you're making simply because of what you've experienced before. And when some people try to give good counsel, they're giving good counsel out of their painful experiences. That's their past. So don't also use someone else's past to determine your present. That's also an error. I mean, like I said, I'm not asking you to be loose or careless. You can pick the lessons, but do not use another person's life as a measure of what should be. I've been online a few times, not a few times, I mean a number of times. And then I see people make statements that seem that they can be very authoritative about those statements, but beyond the statement is a masked hurting person who has had bad experiences. And when you're talking and you feel like when you're kind of person who is trying to tell them that, oh no, that's not how it is, what did they do? They tell you, you don't understand. You're still learning, you don't understand. And you see people try to impose their wrong experiences based off their past life on other people, so that becomes how you said. And if you're not careful, that's going to happen to you. Quite all right, those things happened, but what is most important is what are you doing right now? People have done what they could while you were young. Now, what will you do now that you're here? What are you going to do? Would you just allow those crony, disgusting, cringy looking hands of the past grab a hold of your present and ultimately squeeze your future? Is that what you're going to do? No. Take your future, take your life in your hands. What can I do? What are the things that should change? What are the things that can be corrected? Now, as I'm speaking, I want you to put your life side by side, all that I'm saying, and begin to think about it. What experiences from your past are funding your current choices? Your choice of a life partner, your choice of, I mean, your habit of spending, or your mindset about money, when you talk about family life and all the likes. What mindset? I mean, for example, you find someone who is struggling in university, in college, with their academics, and you're wondering why is this person struggling. This person will do well in other fields of creativity. Maybe they are very knowledgeable about music, about songs. They join a social club and they're very active there. And you're wondering why is this person not doing well academically? If you begin to ask questions and introspect to find out that while this person was in primary school, they had a classwork or an assignment. She did or he did what he thought was his best. Brought it back to the teacher, and what did the teacher do? Hey, you blockhead. You are a dummy, good for nothing human being. I teach you, but it's like your head is like a stone. I just pour water and that's how it looks. Nothing. You are a basket. Nothing enters you. Imagine those kinds of words. What do you expect? Oh, I'm no good. And just to worsen it, he's been bullied by all that. Now, because the teacher says that, the kids will also say that. His classmates will say that. And then now he begins to develop a mindset that believes that, oh, he's no good. He can't think for himself. He doesn't know how to do things. He's not good in academics. And you see people come and say, oh, I'm not good. I'm not good at academics, but I'm more of a creative person. But what happened to them? Something in their past must have funded that belief system. So, what are the things you can do to correct your experiences from the past? Number one, introspect. Think about it deeply. Introspection is not just about careless thoughts, it's an intentional approach. You are thinking, and you must be honest with yourself, because that's going to take you to the next thing. Admit that, okay, something about the past is funding what I'm doing right now. Admit it. I've shared my story a number of times. I used to have a scarcity mindset, and a mindset that sort of attached relevance to some kinds of possessions. While you're in secondary school, you see a lot of people coming with very assorted nice biscuits. I mean, the class of Maryland, I remember at that time, famous Amos, some kinds of cereals, Kellogg's, what else? Pringles, shortbread, those nice biscuits, chocolate biscuits, chocolate cookies, those very nice, fancy biscuits. And my brother who returned from Ukraine, and he was asking her, my sister, we're preparing to go to school, and says, oh, you guys, won't you get stuff, provisions, like, oh, frosties, we kind of mention this, and then I just caught him and said, we're not at that level yet. And then as soon as I said that, it triggered something in him. What do you mean by you're not at that level yet? This is just common biscuit you get to go to school. And then he began to explain and say something. So what do you mean? He was really curious. What do you mean you're not at that level yet? You are just to get biscuits. So now you feel your worth is attached to the biscuits you buy or whatever. Now, this was not a thing of affordability. No, this was a thing of scarcity. It was me relating possessions, I mean, as little as that, to relevance or to class and status. And little did I know how much that affected me. But I realized after that, my God, this is something I should pay attention to. It was years after I began to even do more thoughts about, take more, introspect deeply about it. I realized that while we're young, I mean, my dad, we grew up, I mean, I had a very humble background. We grew up, and my dad would usually, maybe sometimes, once in a while, go out. He loved to get those kinds of food. Go to Mr. Biggs. At that time, Mr. Biggs was the guy then. I mean, but I don't think they're really classy anymore. I don't know why, but those guys were really good. So when we go back home and we go to the kitchen and we see the remnants, the white foil, the white plates, the foils, and all those things, and we try to scamp, just scamper, look for scavenge and look at what's left, and maybe we see a bone to eat. I was like, oh my god, now there's a bone, and we eat. And we're like, wow, I tasted Mr. Biggs. So from childhood, my mindset had already been formed, or should I say, shaped in that direction. I was able to come to terms with that and agree to is that poverty had a way of tampering with my mindset, and that's normal. If you grow up from a poor background, a poor family, you have an extra work to do. Extra work to do. I'm going to tell you how to go about it. So now we've spoken about introspection. Number one. Number two. Now I said you should add. I said admit. Right. Number three. Go after original truth. Right. Go after, stick with what is original. Keep your experiences aside. What is the original truth? Yes, people have done this. The father figure in your life abused you. You were supposed to trust this person. Oh my goodness. Good morning, Uzehi. Uzezi rather. I didn't see that. Your father figure, who is meant to have protected you, now became the person who let you out to threats. That happened, and it feels like okay, you can't trust anybody. Your experiences are valid, but not as valid as the authentic truth. Now you've closed up yourself. You're not loving and you're not allowing yourself be loved. You're shutting everybody out, sucking in depression. Your experiences again are valid, but not as valid as original truth. Go after original truth and stick with it. Stay with what is true, what is real, what is authentic. Go after original truth. How do you do that? I mean, and when you do that, what's going to happen to you is that you will heal, because now you're taking in the right knowledge. You will heal. Some of you have to spend time with your Bible. That's the most authentic source of truth. Spend time with the Word of God, with the Bible. Read through and through. Get to see God's authentic mindset as regards those situations. Poverty is not the norm. No. Scarcity is not the way of life. Hustling is not how it should be. That's not how it was made. You should be loved. God created you to be loved. Matter of fact, God created human beings so he could lavish his love upon them. So you are an object of love. So you deserve love. Don't feel like, oh, you have to earn people's love. So what are you doing? You are people pleasing here and there. If people do not see your worth, then they do not deserve your allegiance. So healing is going to happen as you go after original truth. You will need to seek counsel from people. You will need to open up. You will need to talk with people. You will need to voice out your pain. Do not just lock it up there. One of the times I had an experience that really helped me understand the danger of tightly locking up wrong experiences and memories. I was traveling somewhere and I carried food with me. So when I got there, I settled, arranged myself, and began to eat. Apparently, the food was more than I could finish, and then there was no refrigerator, so I left it in the cooler. I forgot. Then the next day came. I knew that, oh my god, this thing was going to be bad already. So what did I do? I left it. I didn't open it. I just left it there. Day one, day two, day three, week one, week two, week three. I think it was about the fourth week. I said, Timothy, you have to do something about this cooler. Just the same way many of you would have to do something. Sorry. The same many of you would have to do something about the mindset. You will have to do something. You have to dig it up. So I had to open it. Open the cooler, close my nose, but I had to do it nonetheless. I had to do it. So the same thing, you would have to open it up. You would have to open up that garbage can, that trash, open it up and let love flush those things out. Let the right mindset clear off those things so that you're not staying as a victim anymore. Go after original truth, right? Go after original truth. Go after original truth. And the last thing I want to tell you to do is to give yourself the right exposure. Give yourself the right exposure. Give yourself the right exposure. What? Go to places where you're seeing the kind of life that ought to be, and stay there. Observe. Watch how it's done. Have the conversations. One thing I did after my brother highlighted that thing to me, I started having conversations with people who I knew who had these experiences, who had a very good experience while growing up. Began to have these conversations with them, and that began to upgrade my mind. I mean, I'll check. I'm very inquisitive, so I would search and look for things. So have those conversations. Give yourself the right exposure, and with all this in place, I can assure you, you'll begin to come out of those wrong experiences, and you're embracing a new life. Now, aside from this, because this looks like, oh, this is a serious part, but I want to also tell you something. In light of when you make mistakes, it's all right to make mistakes. That's why you have another take. You see, something I know about movie production is that mistakes are not the end of production. Take what I said again. Mistakes are not the end of production. What do? Cut. And then they say, we're going to do it again until it's perfect. So a mistake is not the end of the production. That you've made an error, no matter how bad, how big, nothing can be done about it. It has been done. It has been. I usually tell my, did it has been done. So what should I do next? The deed has been done. So don't stay there thinking of what you should have done, what you shouldn't have done. Maybe you do that, but not stay there in depression and in anger and bitterness towards yourself. The deed has been done. It has happened. Move forward. That's something you must learn to do very quickly. Pick up yourself. If you fall, that's okay. There's a tendency to do that, but it's not okay if you stay there. One thing I realize about children is that when you leave kids, for example, a child is running and he falls on the floor and he hits his head and he hears the sound, bah, and you look at that child and you rub there, sorry, and you're looking really frightened and you run to them. The child is now going to start crying. Oh, something bad has happened. He begins to feel the pain and he begins to cry. But I noticed, if the child falls and you go to the child smiling, hey, and you carry the child and you show it, eventually he'll start laughing. The pain may be there, you might be rubbing it, but he'll start laughing. So if you stay in your mistakes and your errors, eventually it's going to increase and expand and affect many other things. Imagine you woke up one morning and then you were trying to sort out something. You went to the kitchen trying to prepare your breakfast. Your glass plate fell down on the floor and it broke. Okay, that's fine. You're rushing already, so you quickly packed. Now you packed. As you're trying to pack and you stood up, your cup of coffee fell on your shirt. Now you have to go back inside and change your clothes. So you have to go back, run inside, change your dress. You're running late. And then you get into the taxi or the car or the whatever vehicle you're taking to work. There's already anger boiling in you. There's already your impatience. Nobody should just come and test your patience. If not, so no one should just try to test your patience. But then, one thing you want to learn to do is to let what has happened in the past stay in the past. Do not, I wrote it here, do not regurgitate your past into your present. It will contaminate tomorrow. Do not regurgitate. I mean, I'm not above this thing. It's something that I have to do because things will happen everywhere. But do not allow the experiences of the past tamper with your present because it will tamper with the future. Imagine now that guy now that's had those experience in the morning gets into the bus and then he was trying to sit down. The one guy didn't want to scoot over for him a shift. And I said, bro, will you shift? I mean, he's shouting, his tone is loud, and then he's angry. I says, hey, please, don't even try me this morning. I'm not even your, please, move. And then the guy moves. He gets to work. Eventually finds out that the guy he was shouting out in the bus, both of them go down at the same bus stop, and he was wondering, this guy. So you haven't come inside. And he walks to the office, realized that both of them are going to the same office, only to realize that the place he was going to for an interview, the guy he was shouting at was the HR. So what's going to happen? So he found out that all that happened in his house before he got to the boss. So if you just left all those things, something you must learn to do is to tell yourself, maybe things happen. I said, well, it has happened. Okay, let's move forward. So it doesn't tamper with your peace, it doesn't tamper with your joy. So you move forward and you are having greater experiences as you're going forward in the day, because there's a lot of opportunities stuffed up in the day for you. All right, don't allow your past experiences, don't regurgitate your past into your present. It will contaminate your future. And I want you to always tell this to yourself: the best of you is ahead, it's not in the past. Because this also applies for successes and failures, not just failures alone. Even when you have past successes and past achievements, if you're always looking at the shelf and say, look at this award, my god, I remember that speech, it was nice, I mean, like, I wish I could do that again, I wish I could, you have already lost it. It means that the best of you is in the past. But no, my Bible tells me, Proverbs 4:18, the path of the just is as a shining light that shines brighter and brighter. So what does that mean for me? It gets better going forward. As I'm making progress every single day, it gets better going forward. The best of me is ahead of me. All right, the best of me is ahead of me. So say that to yourself: the best of me is ahead of me. Yes, that's true, because the best of you is ahead of you. All right. So I think we've come to the end of today's session on 14 days of mental repositioning. Think today, not yesterday. All right. Be more present in your present than you are in the past. Eventually, you'll find the results and the returns in the future. So, I mean, that's a lot. A lot has been said. A whole lot has been said. I think I touched everything in my notes. A whole lot has been said. So, whenever I teach you get to listen to this, I want you to type in the comments what's something that triggered you, something that struck you, and then you want to practice that much more. Maybe a phrase, a line in any of the things I said. I want you to give me that in the comments. Please do also give this video a like, share this video, copy the link, repost on your status, let your friends see this. And if you've not already joined us on this challenge, well, you're not so late, but then you're some days behind. Catch up and join this train. All right, so tomorrow is going to be day 6. We had to do day 5 again today because yesterday our video did not get uploaded. I mean, a whole lot of issues happened around it, but then we're going to have this uploaded in Jesus' name. Amen. All right, I remain the Rabbi, your number one cheerleader. I'm going to see you tomorrow. Till then, stay close.